happiness is a decision.
Emotions only last 90 seconds. And if we don't let it pass, we hang on to it for what? A few hours, a few days, a few years. So it definitely is a choice, and it's just something that it's a practice. I think is really the better way to explain it.
Folks, it's Coach Fino here with another Real Producers mini cast, if you will, or mini podcast, and blessed to share with you Sarah Weber. Sarah's role with us is as ambassador. She helps connect me with potential partners and helps our partners and our guests and our realtors work well at the events. But my God, Sarah, you are so much more than that. And I don't think people have had a chance to really get to know you a little bit more. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself and how you've gotten to the point where you're at?
Sure, yeah, it's hard to kind of dial it down into a quick little intro, but yeah, I've been in real estate investing for the last 8 years. Done just under 400 deals. I'm really hoping to cross that 400 mark this year. Actually, in the middle of buying a flip myself, so should be fun. But aside from that, I have a YouTube channel that I've been putting weekly videos out on for, oh my God, I don't know, 8 years maybe. Um, yeah, started out as fitness and nutrition stuff, and I morphed it over time into all like self-mastery, mindset, spirituality, and basically giving realistic ways for people to bring the things that they want into their lives, like love and abundance and peace and happiness. And that's what my whole channel is about, is digging into yourself and understanding yourself so that you can do those things.
So the mini podcast, this purpose of this is to help people connect on a business level as far as what everyone has to operate, whether it be in real estate or real estate investing, or the plumber or the title company. And but what you're talking about even connects us even deeper than that. So it connects us on a human level. So
hmm
tell me how did that come about for you to be a passion to keep putting those out?
Yeah, actually, it was when I started in sales. I kind of started on a like self-development journey and reading all of those like sales books and things like that. And then I went through, a spiritual awakening back in 2020, and my whole worldview changed. And I realized, like, not only just in your personal life, but in business and in your relationships, if you don't have a solid foundation of who you are, your limiting beliefs, why you react the way you are, and how to grow and intensify your emotional intelligence, it's not only beneficial for your own personal life, but it spills out, into the business world.
So do you mind diving in a little bit more to what you mean by spiritual awakening and how
I,
how did
yeah.
that change? Yeah.
I can. It was funny too because it started in real estate. It was during COVID. And so we weren't able to physically go to any houses. So all my appointments were over the phone, doing acquisitions. And I was talking to this one lady, and she's like, are you an empath? And I said, I have no idea what that is. And then we got off the phone. I obviously looked it up, and it was weird. It was like I felt like all the cells in my body changed. Like, have you ever seen like Spider-Man, And like he gets bit by the spider and then like all of a sudden his body like goes through this like upgrade. That's what it felt like. And so now I see the world for like what it kind of is. It's almost like pulling back the curtain of the facade that we've been taught on growing up, and basically understanding that there's a lot more layers to this life, and that we're way more connected to the spiritual realm than we realize, and we've forgotten that we came down to live in a human life. I know it's a little
And
out there.
no, it's out there in the sense if you've never experienced anything like it. But in my life, I have, and I could tell you that many awakenings. I had a human awakening, a spiritual awakening, way before I had a business breakthrough.
hmm
You can look at every business breakthrough, and chances are I learned something about myself on a deeper level prior to that next breakthrough.
Right.
So I totally understand that aspect. I haven't heard the spider. analogy,
It's
but
the
boy,
only thing I can think of because it literally felt physical. Like it felt physical, like my body, like the cells in my body like changed. Like I don't, it's the only time it's ever happened, but it was really interesting. And then going down all the rabbit holes and learning about um, physics and things like that and how they all tie into all of that. It really helps you ground and finding gratitude, like especially when you're in real estate or sales or something like that. And you're in a down spell, instead of letting it spiral, you can remember your trainings.
Yoda,
Then,
the
you can kind
Yoda
of
move
catch
right there.
yourself and learn to have that self-awareness. And when you have that, it's so much easier to connect and do business with other people, with clients, with whoever, because you have a broader understanding of why people operate the way that they do.
Mm. So I got to tell you, you're a perfect conduit for that message. So if the universe picked you for that message, you're perfect. You do come across as very empathetic, and you are. I just know you personally. But
Thank
why?
you.
What have you yourself gotten out of putting out the videos and the podcast and etc.?
Yeah, so it's funny, like after all these years, I really don't make much money off of it. I never really thought about giving up just because I get messages or comments on these videos, and it might I'll bring it down to one thing. I've received three long messages from people I don't know over the years who have told me that whatever message or one specific video or whatever it was that they watched stopped them from committing suicide. And so I don't care if I don't make any money off of these, if it's helping just one person, or literally, it's so weird to even say it, but like if it's saving a life, and I'm passionate about it, I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is that belief? What is that awakening? How does that show up for you on a day-to-day basis?
It's really learning how to get in your own mind. I feel like a lot of people are afraid of their own thoughts. And that's why a lot of people kind of distract themselves with being busy all the time, or scrolling on their phones or watching TV. Like there's so many available distractions. But if you actually sit in silence and explore your mind, and sometimes like it's not the easiest stuff, but when you have that awareness, you can heal those things. And so it's as simple as the fact that I used to have insane road rage because I was so like reactive, but doing all this internal work, something as small as that, I don't have that anymore. And so when you think about a small thing like that, but you're doing that in all these areas of your life, the whole quality of your life just like upgrades.
Wow. So let's talk. Can we dive into the process of eliminating road rage?
Yeah, there's
Not
just
that that describes anyone.
I was bad with it, I'll tell you what. Um, first it comes to like self-awareness. Okay, I'm pissed off. This person did. A lot of it comes down to like, and you've said this a lot, control the controllables and let go of the things that you can't control. So it's like, okay, well, can I control the fact that they did that? No. And what is me sitting here being angry going to do to that person? See, we think that when we're sitting in the car and we have road rage and we're angry, that it's affecting that person, but it's not. You're actually like poisoning your own mind and your own body, and it's not affecting anyone in a negative way except yourself and your passengers if you have them. So it's just that understanding that you don't have that control, and you in every moment get to choose how you want to feel, how you want to view something, and how you want to allow it to affect you. And so for me, I would much rather not drive super angry and pissed off, and I'd much rather just like be like, oh, whatever, let it go, roll off your shoulders, and then just like keep going. So when you keep doing that with all these little things throughout your day, it just like you're so much more at peace.
Okay. So I'm going to dive even deeper in that because if people listening to this can just take this process, you don't necessarily have to understand exactly how it works, but once you follow the process, you should be able to gain some quality of life back. So let me go back to uh, road rage. Every when that moment happens, right? Your
Hmm.
body seems to have a physiological response, the
Right.
emotion, anger, etc. So I'm assuming you're doing some sort of process, meditating, visualizing prior to that event.
No, because, I mean, yes and no. Like, I definitely practice those things, but I would hope you're not going to try to meditate when you're in the middle of just eating.
Yeah, but I gotcha.
But the thing is like you said, like it's a chemical reaction in our body. And so it's the hardest part when you start doing it. It gets easier with time, just like working out or anything else does. You have to catch yourself before your body goes into the autopilot reaction. So you
Mm,
feel that and then you stop yourself, you take like a few breaths, and then you just ask yourself the question, is it going to change anything me being reactive? Most likely the answer is going to be no. Is there anything I can do about this? No. How is it going to affect me if I decide to go down this path of, anger or whatever it might be? And then and you talk yourself out of it. But the biggest piece of it is catching yourself before you react. And it's really hard because, most of us do kind of go through life on autopilot, and most people will say they don't. But they do. And it's okay. It's human. It's normal. It's just how society is. But when you start to stop yourself before you react, that's like my biggest tip here.
Got you. So I've been blessed, and there's another person. I don't know if I've introduced you, but I'm going to drop his name here and then connect. James Spooner uh,
No,
is a Napoleon Hill certified coach,
I
and
love that.
I got coached by him, and similar because we're all down this similar path. He had instructed me to visualize, and for me, I got it. I've used this in a number of different ways, but I'm going to use the cold calling.
Hmm.
Went into a role where they said, "You're going to cold call us." And sure, I'm going to cold call. In my head, no, I'm not going to cold call. Can't stand cold calling. I build other areas of my life so well by just relationship marketing. Uh,
Right.
Never had to. Well, unfortunately, I was low performing. I had to give in and cold call. And when I would have a bad call, I don't know if you've ever experienced this,
No, never.
when I'd
Never
have a
in my
bad
life.
somebody would tell me to go blank myself, whatever. I hang up. I got the emotional reaction. Why am I do this? I look for every distraction possible. Then a few hours goes by and I made two calls.
Right.
And
Yep.
so what the instruction for me was it's similar to you. I got to breathe in the moment. But to prepare myself even for the moment was to visualize that event happening and me
Hmm.
putting literally a line through what my typical reaction would be and
Oh,
then celebrating with the reaction I want. And the reaction I wanted in that case was just to hang up, come to the realization that that blow up was more a reflection of what's going on in their lives than anything
yep.
I did at that moment, and that my goals, trying to raise my kids and the financial responsibilities with that, are far greater than that aspect and make the next call. I'll
Right.
tell you, Sarah, it's about 2 weeks of that for me, when you talk about the physical feeling it, I woke up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, but it was a dream around that scenario where I did it right and I knew I broke it. Like I knew
That's
I broke it.
amazing. Because if you're dreaming about it, that means it's in your subconscious at that point. And we live most of our lives like from the subconscious. People don't realize it's about 95% of our lives. So when you start dreaming things like that, that means it's like when people learn a language and they start dreaming in another language. That's what the first sign that they're like fluent in it. So that's like you're being fluent, in your new decision to not react. That's
That,
really
that
cool.
that aspect of it. So I've learned to do that when it came to stress eating. I've learned to do that in other areas of my life. And you're exactly right. It's such a tool to really help you reprogram yourself, right?
It is.
Somebody
It
said your
is.
subconscious is like an operating system in your, like a computer.
Sort of, yeah. And the thing is you have like your the way your brain is wired, your neurons, that you can rewire them. Okay, the way I like to explain it is think about you go sledding, you take your kids sledding, fresh powder, right? The first time you take that sled and you go down, it's not going to be very smooth because there's no path. right? And then the second time you go down, it gets more smooth and deeper. And then by the 10th time or whatever, 100th time, it's just smooth sailing. And it's the same thing with the way that the neurons in your brain work. So the more you practice something or you say affirmations or whatever it is, you're rewiring that and making it easier and easier and easier until it becomes your default. And then you don't have to like consciously think about doing it anymore, which is what happened with me with the driving thing. It was like a conscious thing. I had to put effort in, I had to think about it, I had to practice. And now it's just automatic. I don't even like consider it anymore.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
So from an everyday business level, applying the same kind of practices as you're out and about.
Yeah, absolutely. So even though I'm still involved with real estate and flips and rentals and all that kind of stuff, obviously helping with the land and everything, the primary job I'm doing right now is I'm a casting manager for a TV network for business owners and entrepreneurs. It's called Inside Success TV.
Okay.
So business owners come to us, they apply to be on the show, and I'm the one that auditions them and decides if they are going to pass through and get cast or not. And so in that, it's still technically a commission and sales position, because they do have to pay for what's called a commercial reuse license. And so it's the same type of thing where sometimes people get on and like maybe they don't even have a business, right?
Mhm.
And so in that moment, I can get, pissed off or angry and be like, what a waste of time and this and that. Or I can still just listen to their story, give them someone to like bounce ideas off of and let them go and move on to the next. So again,
Mhm.
it's like, do I spend the rest of my day being irritated that that time was wasted? Or do I spend that time just moving on to the next and continuing down that path? It's like one is like a very non-peaceful direction, and the other one is a very peaceful direction. And what do we all want? We want peace and we want lightness and happiness. And you can't, and people expect it from the exterior. I can't expect you, for example, on here or the people that audition or my family or my friends or whatever to make me happy. It is my responsibility to decide that. And so when you decide that, when you're cold calling, like you were mentioning, or doing auditions or whatever it may be, the way you speak and decide and take things in is what's going to move you through those sales processes.
Mm. So you're telling me happiness is a decision?
It is. I actually have a whole video on it on my channel.
Fantastic. It is. I teach the football kids roughly the same thing. It's one thing to feel anger. It's another to choose to remain angry.
Right, right. And emotions only last 90 seconds. So like
Mm.
the actual emotion that we feel when our bodies tense up like that, it's only a 90-second process. And if we don't let it pass, we hang on to it for what? A few hours, a few days, a few years. So it definitely is a choice, and it's just something that it's a practice. I think is really the better way to explain it.
It's a practice. That's fantastic. So in your new role, um, what would make someone get past the casting director or not? What is it about their story and or about their personality that would make them a prime candidate?
Yeah, so what I look for, so the network has, I think right now we're at 5 shows and we just started casting for 2 additional shows. So we have like, Women in Power, Top Lawyers. We have a new show coming out with Damon John, the shark. So he's one of our business
Okay.
partners and they're doing a show with him. We have Operation CEO, which is retired military that started businesses. So it depends kind of like on the specific show they're auditioning for. But primarily what I'm looking for are people that have an established business, and it's really like the show is going to pour gasoline on what they're already doing. So you're not really a good fit if you're just starting out or you haven't launched anything yet. Um, and then obviously if you have the time to go to Miami and film, it's just a 1 day filming, but there's a lot of networking opportunities too, which is really cool. So you're meeting like all these cast members from all the shows because we do different like mastermind events and stuff. So really, really big networking opportunities too.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I love
So,
it.
So there's not a person I can think better suited for that kind of role. For folks who you're going to want to, if you ever get a chance for coffee or one-on-one with Sarah, you want to jump all over it. She's very empathetic. She hears your stories very, very well. And what she kicks back naturally for you, whether it be a business connection or some sort of insight, is usually very different than anything else you've heard and usually very spot on. So, Sarah, I say that in complete gratitude for my relationship with you. You're very
Thank
talented,
you.
very special, and I appreciate you taking the time for this. I want to encourage people to connect with you from a business owner to business owner standpoint, but realize that no real business breakthrough is going to happen until you have a personal or even, dare I say, spiritual breakthrough first and foremost about yourself. And
Absolutely.
Sarah, what a great way to walk us through that.
Thank
Anything else I
you.
didn't ask you that I should ask you or you want to share?
That's always my last question to any kind of prospect I have on the in
Gotcha.
sales. No, I don't think so. I really appreciate, you bringing me on here and being able to talk about this stuff. I don't get to talk about it very often because, you start talking about spirituality and people automatically think you're nuts. Although I would say with everything going on right now, people are starting to see that like, oh, maybe those people weren't so crazy. But no, thank you. And I really appreciate the kind words as well.